What's up, everybody? Spy here. To my returning viewers, thank you for watching and welcome back. To anyone new, welcome to the channel. I make content about games I like to play, mostly MMOs and RPGs, but from what you can see from the intro, I'm pretty well rounded in what I like to play. Anyway, if you haven't subbed yet, go ahead and do so. You'll be notified right away whenever the guides or the other videos I put up get uploaded. But right now, it's every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Central. Alright, so let's get into the video. Today, we're going to be doing the Warden. Now, this is my first character I ever had, and he's pretty important to me overall. Not because I've played him a lot, but because, well, you never forget your first character in Elder Scrolls Online or any MMO for sure. I mean, it just gets put into you, you know? So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about my build, what I like about it, why this guy's actually a werewolf, and what maybe you might want to do that's similar to this build. So let's just put all that other talking aside and let's jump right in. We're 2 minutes in and I haven't gotten to the build, so let's do it. Alright, so seeing here, we are a dual wielding animal companions build. However, we're not running the Feral Guardian at all. The reason for it is that we're actually using Werewolf as our ultimate, and for our other ultimate we are using Rapid Fire. But we will go back to that. I chose to take 2 ultimates instead of 1. When you have Feral Guardian, you can only run the Feral Guardian. So just, you know, whatever. I don't really care about having a bear out all the time. I'd rather turn into a bear or a werebear. Beware. So let's go into the build. So it's split up between dual wield and ranged, which will be our bow. And the reason I have it separated is because I like to have a lot of utility in my builds. I like to have a lot of just differing things that go on. And this character is all about upfront blast them damage, right? And he's not exactly as tanky, he's not as healing, he's none of that. He's strictly a damage dealer, whereas the Vamplar that we did last week, or a couple weeks ago, is completely different. He's damage, but he has more of the other types of utility, like sustain. This character is not about sustain as much, this guy's more damage. However, he does have some pretty good tricks to get in and out of combat. So let's do this. First ability what we have on our bar, and I'm going to do this a little differently, I think, than I would with the other characters, because this character separated out pretty heavily. So we're going to do it from down here instead. So we're going to go to weapon, and we're going to look at our dual wield tree, and we're going to go from left to right, and then we're going to rotate and go left to right again. So Q is our first ability on the line here, and this will be rapid strikes most of the time. Now, I have been running with rending slashes because of the set I've been using that uses a bleed effect. Now, you can use either one. I prefer personally to use rapid strikes. I think it fits better within the build that we have going. Rapid strikes flood an enemy with steel, battering them for 5 consecutive attacks. Each deal about 1,000 damage, and each hit is 3% stronger, and the last one does 300% more damage. So it's a good, building up, start of combat, and even middle of combat. Throwing it in where you can. Not as much with rending slashes because it's a bleed, so when you drop it, it's done. You're not going to be using it. That can be good for your build if you'd prefer to be using something else to be doing your middle damage, in between attacks. But I prefer to be using rapid strikes because the way we have this set up is all of our buffs and all of our damage is on a timer or goes out and has a timer on it. So we need something in the middle to keep, jabbing away at them. And then we have Quick Cloak. The reason we're running Quick Cloak, it has major major expedition for 4 seconds, increase our movement speed, right? And that's the main reason we're using it. An extra movement speed is always great, but remember that this is also a damage build, so it also pulses shrapnel, dealing 1200 physical damage to all enemies within 5 meters every 2 seconds, and it lasts for 11 seconds. So you'll get some pretty good damage out of that, about, you know, 11k, I think, around. Um, Pretty good damage all around, you know, as long as you're near the enemy, which you should be whenever you're running with dual wielding weapons. So then we're going to go down to we're going to go up actually to our Winter's Embrace, and what we have taken out of here is Frozen Gate. And when triggered, the enemy is teleported to me. He's immobilized for 3 seconds, and it dealt 3,300 frost damage. We can have 3 of them active at one time, and these things are massively just huge. They're just huge, and I really like them. I really like the area that they cause. I like the grapple. You can use this in dungeons specifically. If you're in a dungeon group and your tank is busy and you guys are all grouped up, you can grab that enemy for him, throw him into the bunch, and as your tank hits him, guess what? He's on him now. You know, it works with a lot of teamwork. It helps with maintaining control on the battlefield and just generally having power where you need it. And then we're going to go down to World, and I will go through all of these in just a minute, but we're doing it a little bit differently right now, only because I think this might work better. So right now we're running Silver Bolts. Now I will actually be we'll be actually morphing this soon. The reason for me not morphing it is because I have forgotten. But either way, Silver Bolts fires a Dawnguard Vampire Hunter's Crossbow to an enemy, deals 6,000 damage right away. I mean, that's your middle ground too. It has 28 meter range, which means that while you're running towards the enemy, before you can start doing your rapid strikes, you'll be doing more of this. It'll help you boom boom pop pop, you know, and just get them right before you get them. And it also lines up really well with Subterranean Assault, because see, this has an area of 20 times 7 meters, right? And deals 10,000 poison damage in front of me, and then after the Shulk die, they bury you under again for 3 seconds and then resurface to do the same amount of damage. So when you're running up to an enemy, you can use Subterranean Assault and then shoot them with your crossbow until you get up to them. When you get up to them, guess what? Your Subterranean Assault will go off. You'll already have Quick Cloak active, hopefully, or you'll put it active. And then from there, you'll just go into Rapid Strikes. And then once Rapid Strikes, you know, you keep going for it. Once this goes off, you reapply it. And then you reapply this. And then you do these 2 things until these 2 things need to be rebuffed. And this is your grab. And that's kind of the best way that I can put it. Quick and easy rotation there. Now we're going to go ahead and go to the back bar, and this is my bow. So we're going to go to the weapon, and I'm running a dual wielding, I'm running a bow for the bow slot. And let's go to not Winter's Embrace, Green Balance. Now this is my heal for the entire build. This is what I use to heal. This is why I use this. I think it's one of the better heals in the game. Seed a large area of mushrooms in front of you, healing you and your allies for 7,000 health. Heals for 15% more on allies that are within 8 meters of you. This is great utility. It'll heal you, but it'll also heal everyone else around you. It's, you know, genuinely, I think it's one of the better heals that you can get in the game. I know that the Alliance War uses Vigor. It has more healing, I understand that, but I like to have the on heal for everyone. It's more utilization of healing, and plus it's quick and easy spammable because it costs very little. Alright, and then going into the weapons here, what are we using for our second button? Well, we're using Poison Injection. Funny, isn't it? A werewolf using poison. Shoot a coated arrow in Banderai poison at an enemy, dealing 3,800-ish poison damage, and then an additional 7,500 poison damage over 10 seconds. You deal up to 85% more damage with enemies under 50% more health. This is your main spammable once they get into the execute range, which is 50% more health. Once they have 50% health, you light them up with this. You want to get poison damage on them, keep it going. And then Draining Shot. This is another heal we have, but its utilization is different. Blast an enemy with an enchanted arrow, dealing about 4,500 physical damage and reducing their movement speed by 60% for 3 seconds. This is a great way to get in front of them. Get there before they get there. Get where you need to go. Shoot. If you're doing a battleground and you see a guy and he's running up to like grab the flag or the relic, shoot him with this. Grab the relic first. Run. You know what I mean? There's no honor amongst thieves. So then, for our next ability, we're using Cutting Dive. Command a Cliff Racer to dive bomb the enemy, dealing 6,800 bleed damage. If you are more than 7 meters away, however, you set them off balance. If the enemy's off balance, it causes them to bleed for another 7 seconds. This effect can stack. So you just want to dive bomb anyone who's far enough away, and then you start lighting them up. And then Bull Netch. This is increasing your weapon and your spell damage by 20% and grants you some stamina of 5,000 over 25 seconds. The 5,000 stamina over 25 seconds isn't the main point of this, and it also removes one negative effect from you. The main point being the Major Brutality, increasing your weapon and spell damage. Major Brutality it's brutal, as the name says. So, and then, as I said, we have 2 different ultimates that we are using, and I'm going through the abilities first because I want to go through them and get the rotation out right away. So we're going Pack Leader. While transformed, your stamina is increased by 30%. You take 10% less damage. You summon 2 dire wolves and also grant yourself and nearby allies courage, increasing their weapon and spell damage by 215. This and your stamina recovery is increased by 15% for having it slotted. That is my werewolf thing. This is not a werewolf build, however, our guide for werewolf build. This is a warden build, so we will come back to this in a later video. Now let's go through what I'm running for the bow. On its thing is Rapid Fire. Unleash a Barrage, dealing 56,000 physical damage over 4 seconds. You can move at full speed and are immune to disabling effect while channeling this. It channels for 4 seconds and has a range 28 meters. Cost is 161 ultimate. Really cheap. Get in, get out. So now that we've gone through the rotation of the build, and what I think is the most important part of the build is the rotation, let's go through the passives that we're running, and let's do this. Let's do this a little bit quicker than we did last time. We're a bit more confident in what we have here on this character because I've played this character for years at this point, and he's stayed here, and I took forever to level him up. I enjoyed everything with him. I took my time, so I'm really confident with a lot of this build. Bond with Nature, and this is in the Animal Companion skill line, all these ones here. Anytime you cast one of your Animal Companion skills, and when they end, you are healed for 1,200 health. Well, right there, Subterranean Assault, it ends after 3 seconds, and then ends again after 3 seconds. That's 2 heals. And you can think about it this way. Once Cutting Dive goes off, you get healed. Once the Bull Netch goes away, you get healed. Right? It's extra healing. There's no real reason not to take a little bit extra healing. When you cast an Animal Companion's ability while you are in combat, you generate 4 ultimate. This effect can only happen every 8 seconds. 4 ultimate, that's another way to help us get werewolf slash rapid fire out a bit quicker. And then Flourish increases the magicka and stamina recovery by 12% if you have an animal companion's ability slotted. Of course, we made sure to slot at least one for each one of these, so we get the recovery. And then it increases your damage done by 2% for each animal companion ability slotted. This one has 2% increased, and this one has 2% as well. Actually, this one should have 4% because it's 2, but I think the tooltip is broken. Either way, now we have no passives in the green balance tree, and we have not taken any passives here in the Winter's Embrace tree. And out of this way. Now here we go. This is where it gets kind of fun. This is where the build starts to take shape, and we have finished out our rotation. We finished out the main meat. Now it's time to get the big rounding out of it, right? This is what makes dual wielding more viable, in my opinion, than going two-handed. Slaughter, increasing your damage with dual wield abilities by 10% with enemies under 25% health. I only took 1 point in this. I don't think the second point's worth it, personally. Dual wielding expert increases your weapon and spell damage by 6% of your offhanded weapons damage. So 6% of my offhander gets put into my weapon and spell damage. That's extra damage, extra power. And, you know, we're going to run whatever our beefiest weapon is in our offhand now to supplement that. Reduces the stamina cost of dual wielding abilities by 15%. That's Controlled Fury. Obviously, you know, we're using a lot of dual wielding abilities here. 2 of them specifically. Might as well lower the cost of them. Ruffian gives you a 15% damage bonus when attacking stunned, immobilized, disoriented, or silenced enemies, right? That's gonna be fun, especially because Frozen Gate gives us immobilization on the target. That's extra damage that we really don't have to do much around. You can put the immobilization trap on your feet, and anytime they walk, they're gonna get slung to you, even though they're next to you. So get that extra 15% more damage, guys. Twin Blade and Blunt. Now, we are running some different weapons for each hand. One we're running a sword, and then the other we're running a mace. Twin Blade and Blunt gives you a bonus effect on the type you use. And for us, it would be armor penetration by 1650, and weapon and spell damage increased by 142. That is what we are running. I could see a reason to maybe run axe or dagger even, but on this build specifically, we're not going crit, we're going sustain. Sustain damage. Not sustainability necessarily, but that does come with it. And with bows, we have long shot, increases our damage bonus up to 12% against enemies that are at long range. We have accuracy, increasing our crit chance rating by 13-14, and reducing our stamina cost, same one. Every skill line has that version of it. Hawkeye, dealing damage with a light or heavy attack, increases the damage of your bow's abilities by 5% for 5 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. It's a lot of 5s in that one. What that basically means, in human talk, is you shoot your bow 5 times, just normal shooting, before you use an ability, because you will stack it up 5 times. That will be 25% more damage, if I did my math right, and that will be 25% more damage on your next ability by shooting your bow 5 times before you shoot them with an ability. And that's what that means. Hasty Retreat grants you major expedition, increasing our movement speed by 30% for 4 seconds after using a dodge roll. As I said before, we have many ways to get out of combat, to get away from the enemy if necessary. This build is quick, and I like it being quick. So, for our armor, what are we using? Well, we're using medium armor. No surprise, the stamina build, but it's good. So reduces the cost of sprint by 1%, reduces the cost of sneak by 5%, block by 3, reduces the cost of block by 3%, reduces damage taken by area of effect, and increases movement speed by 2% while immune to crowd control. Now we're running full. Every piece is medium, so we get all those bonuses times 5. And dexterity increases our weapon and weapon critical rating by 212 or 219 for each piece of medium armor equipped. So our bonus is 1538. I'm going to read our current bonus instead of the actual passive bonus. Windwalker increases our stamina recovery by 28% and reduces our cost of stamina abilities by 14%. Improved sneak. This is a 49% reduction on sneak cost and reduces the size of detection by 35%. Now that's not exactly a major tier 1 if you don't want to run sneak, if you don't care about sneaking, then this is a dead passive for most people. Agility. This will increase our weapon damage by 14% for each piece of medium armor worn. We have 14%. Not 14% for each piece, we have 14%. And increases your movement speed bonus of sprint by 21% and reduces the roll dodge cost by 28%. Alright, so now we're going to go into the other abilities that we are running. If anything, remember we are running continuous attacks. I think this is the best passive in the game. 30% movement speed at all times. Don't have to be in PvP. Even though it's an assault tree skill line ability, you will get 30% movement speed anywhere. And I really think people should be picking this up if you have not already. It's 1 point that you need. It's not that much. It's worth it. Now we are a red guard, and that means that our passives are pretty powerful, increasing our experience gain with one-handed shield, and increases the duration of any eaten food by 15 minutes. Obviously food buff for 15 more minutes. That's not the biggest thing, but it's nice. It's a nice little bonus. Keeps us from having to waste even more gold, honestly, you know, if you think about it. Food effects last for, let's say it lasts 2 hours, then you get 2 hours 15. That means if you eat 10 of them, you basically got it back. Or you get 20 food over the time, you get a whole food buff free. It's not bad. Martial training reduces the cost of your weapon abilities by 8% and increases the effectiveness of snares applied, or reduces the effectiveness of snares applied to me by 15%. Conditioning increases our maximum stamina by 2,000, and adrenaline rush. When you deal damage, you restore 1,000 stamina. This effect can occur every 5 seconds. Extra way to regen some stamina. And we're a master crafter on this, so we have our other things down here. So, right. So let's go into what I believe like this kind of build looks like in action. So firstly, before even starting combat, you're going to want to pop that up. That's 20% extra brutality. Now you can swap weapons and get it still. As you see at the bottom, our buffs at the bottom say that we have it. So before you even attack, remember, bring that guy up, pop this down, make sure you have this up, right? So now we have Blade Cloak and we have Subterranean Assault. So how it works, remember, we pop that guy out, we do Subterranean, we pop up our Blade Cloak, we run into the target, and we fight them. And we'll be doing damage the entire time up. And remember, we'll be using crossbow while running to the boss, so that we don't have to deal with them, like, you know, before we get there. So we can deal with them before we get there. Now, I'm going to show you, this is a really large area, and this is what this does. This right here, if anyone, doesn't matter, so if they're standing in it, right, and they don't move, then technically they do not get snared. As soon as they move like that, they're grabbed and they would be grappled all the way to us. So let's say we're over here. If there's a guy here and he moves right here, he gets yanked and he's immobilized, meaning that we get extra damage on him. And that has been the Warden build, and what I believe are the most beneficial passives that I could take for my build, what I believe the best rotation that I have going on. This has gone through many variations, so we're very confident on this build specifically. Many variations have gone through, many different changes he's gone through. He's been my character since I started all the way back in Morrowind, so he's gone through quite a few changes and a lot of fun. Before we go, I think I'll go ahead and show our champion points. We have them lined out a little weird, but grant stamina per stage, we have that one. Then for this, we've gone into this this star extended might. We've grabbed piercing, grants 3,500 offensive pen, increases your chance to apply martial statuses effects by 30%, and grants weapon damage to martial attacks, increasing our damage with physical poison, disease, and bleed damage. We've also grabbed some more stamina down here. Now coming over to finesse, we've grabbed reduced cost of sprint. We've got hasty, so we have increased our movement speed while sprinting by 2% per stage, 4%. Increases our health by 280. We're working our way towards blood renewal, so we gain stamina when we kill someone. Tumbling is to reduce the cost of roll dodge by 120 stamina per stage, and reduce the cost of break free by 220. And then coming over here, this is our craft tree, so it's not exactly the most important, but we grab 2% movement out of combat. I just have that because I like to have a little bit more speed, and we're building that up over time. Increase our gold by 2%, but that's not our main one. Increases our 10% gold found in treasure chests and safe boxes, increasing our crafting inspiration by 10%, and then increases our chance of extracting certain materials, as well as working our way up to reducing the time it costs to harvest. So that's our really quick, honestly, rundown of the star system on this character. Alright, and so I figured now is a good time to go ahead and go through our attributes. So we have 0 in Magicka, we have 12 in health, and 52 in stamina. That leaves us with a maximum stamina of 2600, maximum health of 18,800, maximum magicka of 12,000. Our magicka recovery is 576, and our health recovery is 309, but our stamina recovery is nearly 2,000, so it's 1900. Spell damage is 1300, but we don't use any spells, so we're going to go ahead and just push all that aside real quick, and let's talk about weapon. Weapon damage is 4142. Weapon critical is 20%. Our physical penetration is 5,373. Our physical penetration is 5,327. Our physical resistance as well as our spell resistance is actually the same, and it's 10,812. And our crit resistance is 1320. We have down here, we're using the Boon of the Warrior to increase our weapon damage by 279 or 276. And remember, lycanthropy gives us a 25% more damage to poison while in werewolf form, so be careful out there. Out of our advanced stats, I'm sure you guys can see all these. I don't need to go through these with you. Right. And so, yeah, this character is insanely fast, and this is mostly how he'll get out of combat. You know, he can run nearly the speed, maybe faster than most mounts on command with a roll dodge because of our passive in the bow skill tree. And of course, you know, if you're ever in danger, drop it and then run. And you're going to be way quicker than the guy who's immobilized for 3 seconds. You know, we think about it. How long does it? 1, 2, 3, and we can get about that far from the location. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. Alright, everyone. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. So, if you did, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Doing these things is going to help the community that we're building here grow, and as always, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think, good or bad. I want to know what everyone around is thinking, what content you guys want to see. Thanks for watching. Again, if you stuck around to see this, I'm eternally grateful, and I know you didn't have to. I'll see you all next time.